they can be. Our sincere hope is that they work as a team in the face of adversity, maintaining dignity and generosity in victory and defeat. Best wishes for a successful tournament and good luck to all participating team. Thank you one and all.
Thank you very much, Alison. And now we go down the program and we have the representative of the Guyana Football Federation. They have also been very supportive of this program. And none other than to be here this morning is the president of the Guyana Women's Football Association and GFF executive member, Ms. Vanessa Dickinson. Please welcome her with a big round of applause, please.
Thank you, Mr. Peters, chairperson. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members from the Scotiabank, the Guyana Sport Development Foundation, Pepsi, and all other stakeholders involved in this tournament. The GFF definitely welcome yet again another Pepsi Scotiabank tournament. This tournament will surely develop and promote footballs in the school, to which we have noticed, and there is true manifestation of the expansion of this tournament, which we see Linden and Jert and Berbice now participating in the tournament. The development aspect, as some of the previous speakers mentioned, is that students should learn and be much more disciplined, and in terms of representing a school, that you should take serious note of what you need to do in terms of developing the game. It may not only be by playing football, but also there's room for you to be a referee, coaches, and so on. So the GFF would surely accept your participation in developing the pool of players and technical administration and technical personnel in the fraternity. I must say that this tournament will surely enable students to be a much more rounded and disciplined person. They would be able to choose, if you're involved in sports or any sporting activity, in this case football, you would be able to involve in active activities, like for instance playing the game, rather than maybe sometimes it may be followed by, maybe encouraged by some peers, which may lead you down the wrong road. So involvement in sports, more so football, will contribute to your upliftment. This approach by the academy is definitely commended by the GFF, and surely all the stakeholders and interested persons would support the academy approach in terms of footballs in the schools, and I must say to the students, just have fun, represent your school, enjoy the tournament. Thank you.
And we're going nicely along, and we now have the representative of the Guyana Football Referees Council, who is none other than Mr. Alfred King, also the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, one of the stakeholders, and we now welcome him to the microphone. Please give him a big round of applause, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Troy Peters, and of course the General Secretary as well of the GFRC. Mr. Yates, representative of the GFF, Education, and the two major stakeholders in this arrangement, the Scotia Pepsi Schools Tournament, the representatives of Scotia and as well Pepsi. Indeed, this tournament is associated with two fine brands. The brand of Scotia is known well for the marketing products it offers, or in fact banking products it offers, as well as a good taste, home taste in Pepsi. While I'm saying that, we should pause to consider the involvement of these two major companies in such a tournament. I don't think it's by chance. I don't think they were persuaded beyond what they're supposed to, or their mandate would allow them to do, as you would have heard from both of the representatives already. I think more and more we're getting to come to grips with the magnitude and the potential of sports. It is known too well that sports has tremendous potential, not only to help us brand products and market products, but of course to engage people generally for social inclusion, to help develop some of the finest values known internationally and universally. The values of teamwork, the values of professionalism, the values of fair play, the values of recognizing each other's strengths, weaknesses, and using it to work towards common objectives and goals. So I think it's well known that if we provide these opportunities for any community, and in this case schools, and any society, we might be very well contributing to what is the national development and national good. And by now you should know that while it used to be looked at before sports as a part-time or a pastime activity, it's much more than that. It's now considered as one of the key elements that can contribute to national development. And it is in this regard that I want to tell you that the finest brands of Scotia and Pepsi is involved then in promoting national good and national development, and I think that's most commendable. But having said that, remember we're working with the schools. The model created by the Sports Foundation over the last 2 years is in keeping with my philosophy for what I believe should be sports development, and in this case, football development. The model where it is always felt that you're running tournaments, whether in the school system or within clubs or associations, I think would have outlived its usefulness as a true developmental model in any sport. So I believe the model that's being used here should be the model that we can now replicate in other associations, in other competitions, and I believe would truly define what I consider development in a true sense, either in a particular discipline, and in this case, football. What am I talking about? This Scotiabank Pepsi Schools tournament is just putting the ball on the ground and kicking and scoring goals and winning, and maybe helping to foster some school pride and all individual achievement. It's a little bit more than that. It's a program. It's a series of related activities that over time would create the right structure for football development. You would have learned of the associated workshops that would have been held before. One for referees, creating an opportunity for experience to be developed by youngsters who over time will obviously develop the fundamentals and of course might very well be likely to be the next generation of referees, having developed skills associated with refereeing. Similarly, you would have gotten an opportunity for those who were involved as teachers, as coaches, to go through the fundamental of coaching and organizing teams and school clubs to be involved in this tournament. And I believe over time, if we do that enough, you'll have a wide base of people who would have gotten the fundamentals and might very well want to transition to the next level of coaching, where they should be properly trained and of course accredited. So with that in mind, and the competition itself, and how it's organized, I'd imagine that that is a good model that these two brands would be proud to be associated with, that can now be used generally for development of football and other sports. But having said that, let me also point you to a couple of things that seem to be not in line with what we are hoping to advocate for football development. When we introduce youngsters to the game, we don't want to introduce them just like you would have learned in your school system to things that are wrong very early in your career and or life and or your training and development experiences that might be difficult to undo later on. And so we're hoping that with your involvement at this early stage of your development and involvement in football, that you'd recognize the importance of what most of the speakers spoke about earlier. What is fair play? There are rules, there are laws of the game. And you should not strive, or you should not think for one moment that you should gain an unfair advantage. Any advantage you should be striving to gain should be one that is based on your own skill sets developed over time, your own level of fitness, which will, of course, allow you to maybe excel one as against another, and then as a team, if your tactics and other fundamentals are in place, then gain an advantage and go on to win. So we want to make sure that you know that. We want to advocate through this tournament fair play. Understand the laws of the game and play by the laws of the game. A couple of people would have asked you to be good losers. Good losers. So once you would have gone on at the various rounds and you might have lost the game or anything like that or the championship, you should still see this opportunity as one of value, because coming away from this competition, you should have been able to grow as a better team player, as a better football player, and of course, a more unified group in your school, maybe making more friends and things like that. And we're hoping too that more and more, once this tournament would go on and you learned about the number of schools involved, close to 25 or so, that some of you would go into the schools, the club structure, and help to strengthen some of those weak structures as well, and create an opportunity for maybe creating more youth footballs in the club itself. So having said that, I want to also to commend the parents who are out here and who took enough time off to make sure that they support you in your involvement in football, just like they would do for your academic development. Because I strongly believe, just like your academic programs and your achievement, that parents are always critical and important for your success. So having said all of that, I want to commend this tournament to all of us. I want to make sure that we record that this seemed to be the right model for what is schools football competition and football development. I want to ensure that we know that Scotiabank and Pepsi are involved in national development through the schools program, more than just football. I think it's life skills, and this is commendable. Thank you all, and of course, may the best team win. All right.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. King. And certainly we're coming to the end of the official ceremony. We'd like to call on Miss Andrea Fredericks to move the vote of thanks, and then we will have the symbolic kickoff. Andrea.
Thank you, Troy. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be very, very brief. I know the sun is hot and you children must be very tired. My task is very simple this morning. First, I must say to Scotiabank and DDL, Pepsi brand, thank you for allowing us yet another year. The Ministry of Education, especially the Chief Education Officer, Mr. Olato Sam, the Allied Arts for their input, Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, the Guyana Football Federation for their continued support towards the development of football in our country, Guyana, the parents for allowing their children the privilege to participate, the principals and teachers for taking time off from their busy schedule to be with us. We thank you. To the media and all supporters, not forgetting you wonderful students, we must say thank you. So on behalf of the Guyana Sports Development Foundation, I say a big thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Lovely, lovely. Come in a bit, Mr. King. Right.
That's it.
Blow the whistle, ref.
Forward kick.
Thank you very much, sponsors, students, for your patience. All right. So we'll have a little bit of refreshment upstairs for the officials. Mr. Griffin. Mr. Griffin.
Hey, I don't get them bits. Yeah, man. Yeah? Everybody.
I bet you some of your bench warm it up nice.